Man, I was never in it for the money. It was never about the money. We started and we do this out of our heart, passion to change lives, to help people out. When I first started, it was like, if I can make $50,000 a year, oh my goodness, this is going to be awesome. And at 50,000, I said, if I can only make 100, that was easy. If I can only make $100,000 a year, this is going to be great, right? I'm going to love, I'm going to have a great life. And I think that at that point, you think, you figure out of yourself, like, to most of us, it wasn't ever about the money.
That customers are more than dollars and cents. Workers are more than dollars and cents. We care about the people. And so anything that would make us not do that is kind of off the table.
Yeah.
Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset, the source for business owners who aspire to scale, grow, and reach their full potential. Whether you're aiming for 5 million, 10 million, or 100 million. Your hosts are Alan O'Neill, the Irish plumber, who scaled Abacus Plumbing and Cooling to over 100 million, and Tulsa, Todd Liles, a coach to high-performing business leaders and the owner of Service Excellence, are going to help you think bigger, act smarter, and take your business to the next level.
Welcome to the $100 Million Mindset Podcast. This is actually part number 2 that I'm doing with Elmer Zubiate. He was gracious enough to come into the studio last week, and the conversation was so good that I used up the entire hour with him before I got to all of my topics. He graciously agreed to come back in for a part number 2. So today, we are going to pick up where we left off with Elmer Zubiate as we are talking today about his relationship with Roy Williams. We're going to be discussing his exit with Elmer's, and we're going to talk about his new adventure, Zuby. And we may just have a special friend that we will bring in when we get into that discussion as well. Elmer, thank you for making it back for part number 2. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
You know, it's funny. As with so many things, it seems to be with you and I show up to a partner meeting or a dealer meeting, you're there. I go into my favorite little restaurant at lunch not knowing you're there. You're there. You're everywhere, Elmer.
We like to eat.
Yeah, we do like to eat. That's right. And there might have been an adult beverage or two at that Johnstone dealer meeting. So
Right.
yeah, that all works out. All right. When we were together last time, you were telling us about your background, about the importance of your mom, from poverty to purpose. I really appreciate you telling those stories. We're going to jump straight into it now. We both have a very good mutual friend, Roy H. Williams. For those that don't know who Roy is, he's the original Wizard of Ads. He's a great friend. He's a great husband. He's a great mentor. And he also happens to be a co-host on our other podcast that we have, Todd, Liles, and the Wizard of Ads. But he's a friend to you. This is something that you've said to me. It stuck it out to me. Roy believed in me before I had the money to pay him, and I'll never forget that. So tell the folks briefly what that means. I mean, does that literally mean Roy took you on as a client and did that for $0 initially?
Roy took me on as a friend, not as a client.
Okay.
He, back in the when I was just starting out, right, I was just running some service calls. Maybe I could fix air conditioners really well, but without Roy, nobody would have known me. San Antonio wouldn't know me. The state of Texas wouldn't know me. So I'd be just there dormant like a lot of people do that don't have that, call it a blessing, right, to me. None of it made sense. Then it happened, and he came into my life and just made me Elmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was named Elmer, but he put me on the map. So that's, he's, like I said, Roy doesn't get the credit of, he's made a lot, the people that he's made into brands.
Right.
So
Well, Roy isn't going to toot his own horn because he fundamentally wants to put the client first. But there's so many wonderful brands in between Morris Jenkins, Gettle, Elmer's, now Zuby. He's going to be part of that, right? And it just goes on and on and on. So we'll give him the credit, even though he'd never do it for himself. Let's talk a little bit about storytelling. In the last episode, you demonstrated that you're a good storyteller. You know how to tell a story, especially one of your past and something that's of value to you. Roy is obviously an amazing storyteller as well. How did you two come together and marry your storytelling approaches to really turn Elmer's into the household name that it became in San Antonio?
So several years ago, I don't remember what year it was, but I was at one of the airtime little conventions, and there was this guy speaking up there. He was speaking about the brain. He broke down the brain in every area of the brain. It's like Broca's area, which I've never heard of, and just went in there and described how the brain reacts, different parts of the brain react to messaging. And I was like, what in the world is he talking about? I've never been exposed to something like that, and it just caught my attention. At the end of the actual conference, right, he says, hey, by the way, I have a free Friday. He used to do a free Friday don't know how often it was, but he used to buy everybody lunch and come speak for a few hours, just on business, just out of his generosity. He just want to help people out. And me being in San Antonio, I drove up here to Austin one day and showed up to his class, right? It was Wizard Academy. At the time, it was a class called Tuscan Hall. It was a newer class that he had just built. Well, he has this little seminar. Lucky for me, right? The air conditioner breaks. So since I was running service, I had my service truck, had my tools and everything in there. The class was full, and it was summertime. It got hot in there pretty fast. So I just did the right thing, jumped in the truck, went and brought my tools and kind of saved the day, if you will. But that's just what you do, right? You have the means, you know how to do it. And I fixed it. Class went on, everything was fine. End of the class, Sean, his assistant, right? He was one of the assistants. He came in, he goes, hey, Roy wants to thank you. He says that the next full class, which is a big deal, he goes, he wants you to attend it. He's going to give it to you for free. I was like, oh, wow. I saw some of the, I said, wow, that's incredible. I'd do anything to be again with this man, right, in a class. And shortly after that, he keeps kind of helping me out, just helping me out.
Yeah. After
a while, I'm like, I don't know how much time it was, honestly, Todd, but after a while, it's like, I can't do this anymore. This is way too valuable for me. For me, I'm starting to see people recognize the brand a little bit. He's branding me. I'm like, man, this is cool. And I go in there, have lunch with him again. I said, Roy, I really want to pay you something. I feel really bad. I don't know what you charge, but can I start paying you for what you're helping me with, right? He goes, I don't know why you want to pay me. He goes, I don't know what you think. I said, no, but I want to, talk to you more and stuff like that. He goes, you're not going to, I'm doing this already. I don't know why you want to pay me. He probably doesn't even, I don't know if he ever knew how much I paid because he didn't care.
He doesn't.
He doesn't charge enough for what he does to a brand and to a person.
Right.
He does not. I mean, he's amazing at what he does. And again, he put me on the map.
The last time we were together, we were talking about you building up Elmer's to this household name. And that's true. That's not an understatement. You built it up to what, 45 million just in San Antonio? And then you opened up Dallas. And I think, were you 15, 20 million in Dallas within like 2 years?
The first year, gosh, what was that number? The first year we were already profitable. And we were at, I believe, 12 million. The first, just startup, no acquisition, no nothing. We went from zero to, Roy took us there, right, with the message. We went in there and made impact from zero to, I believe it was 12 million profitable dollars the first year. No people, no staff. We started from scratch.
Now, I want to move into Elmer's, and we're going to talk about you exiting. One of the quotes that you said was, I would do things differently. Didn't 100% define what that meant, but just that you would do things differently. Because you built and sold it. You had a massive opportunity financially that could change your life forever. You could be doing nothing right now if you wanted to.
Correct.
But obviously you're still starting another organization. So you learned some lessons, and I want to jump into some of those decisions here. So let's first walk us through what brought you to the decision of, yeah, I want to sell, and now is the right time.
Well, I think that at that moment, right, where you get, like a lot of people have, that chunk of money that is more than you could ever imagine, right, that you could have as a contractor. But when that large sum of money comes in, and yeah, it's you anticipate it, it's like, oh my goodness, is this real, right, and stuff like that, and you end up exiting and actually doing a transaction. I think it comes down to, you say, man, I was never in it for the money. It was never about the money, right? Because it's, we started and we do this out of our heart, passion to change lives, to help people out. Right. Yes, of course, we'll take the money, right? But it never was about the money. And I think that a lot of us start more than anything with that vision, like I said earlier, right? Was when I first started, it was like, if I can make $50,000 a year, oh my goodness, this is going to be awesome. And at 50,000, I said, if I can only make 100, that was easy. If I can only make $100,000 a year, this is going to be great, right? I'm going to have a great life. 100,000, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? Like, but, and I think that at that point, you think, you figure out of yourself, like, to most of us, it wasn't ever about the money. And what happens is, I decided to do the.
So I want to dig into that. When someone puts a number that's whatever the multiple is, you went out at probably when the multiples were higher because money was cheaper. I don't know. Let's call it somewhere between 10 to 20. I'm not going to ask you that. But they put a number in front of you. It's a big multiple. You look at that number. What actually happens right there in your mind when that big, massive number is sitting right there in front of you? Not later, but in that moment.
I think there's a bunch of mixed emotions everywhere because, first of all, at that moment, right, we were growing so aggressively and easily thanks to the branding campaigns that Roy had put together, and it seemed very easy, right? So it's emotional. Like, okay, actually, even though the amounts are unbelievable, you still think like, should I not? You see, it's still not a yes, let's do this. Oh my God, I'm going to cash out. This kind of money you'll never see again. So you still question it. You're still not sure.
Did that thought go through your mind? Will I ever see this much money again?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It did, like, oh my goodness. But at the same time, I actually called Roy. Roy, I need to talk to you. And we talked about it and stuff, and he gave me some advice, right? And Roy's always had my back. He's always had my back, says, whatever you choose, I've got your back, whatever it is. So he's always given me a lot of confidence. He believed in me always. And he proved to me that he was there unconditionally. So we spoke, and after a lot of debate back and forth and thoughts and prayer and everything else, I was like, I guess we should do this. So we continued forward, right? But I don't think that through the whole time, even with that amount of money, I was, yes, let's do this. I'm excited about it.
You're never actually excited.
I was never really excited about it because it was just like, we were growing so fast, so aggressively. And I just, again, it was a great culture, environment, and everything. So
obviously, you're not done. You're still growing stuff. And we're going to get into Zuby because in a moment, I want to know about that. But at the time, did you think that you were done?
No,
No?
absolutely not. The only reason that I decided to do it was because the people that came in, right, said, convinced us they had an unlimited amount of money to be able to promote and grow the enterprise. They said, hey, listen, we see how fast you're growing. They looked at the financials, the numbers, the new markets were starting and everything. And like, this is pretty amazing, right? We have the capital to keep expanding. So to me, that was very important because we had the dream and the vision to just keep growing into the markets, right? So that was the factor that made me say, you know what? Okay, we're doing it very at a good pace. With that kind of financial backing, we can do it a lot faster and better.
Okay, that makes sense. What happens after the sale? And I'm not even talking like after the sale and you realize the new working relationship. I'm talking new working relationship's not even established. It's just done.
It's a number in your account.
That's it.
It's a big number in your account. You see all the zeros there, right? And it's like, this is pretty cool. When you come from nothing, you don't necessarily know what it actually means, right? I mean, you see a big number, and not that I'm stupid, but a little bit like, what does it all mean now? What's next, right? Okay, the heck with it. Let's keep going. Why? Because you don't need anymore. Your life's already established at a certain point. Right. It's like, hey, okay, it's in there. Let's go. Let's go forward.
And now tax implications, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they don't take any of that out. That's probably not part of the brokerage. That probably hits your account and be like, okay, now Elmer, what happens to the taxes is between you and Uncle Sam. Is that fair?
Yeah, you have to write a big old check. And you're like, wait a minute, how in the world did I really say? And now your number goes down significantly.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute here, right?
Does that mess with your head when that number gets cut by 30 or 20% or 40% or whatever they hit you with?
It does a little bit, but I do believe you're also looking forward to just continuing on your path and making some more. It's kind of, at a certain point, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, there's only so much you could do, right? That is not in that. you're going forward. You get this chunk of money. Yeah, you can do a few more things. But again, what drives you? Where are you at that point in your life? I'm ready to grow,
Right.
expand, and just take over the world, right? So it's you pay and you're like, I'm going to make this up. No big deal. Let's just keep going. It's just part of life.
So, what did you learn about private equity that within whatever the boundaries are that you feel comfortable saying, of course, that maybe someone had told you it'd be that way, but they convinced you it wouldn't be, but you found out, no, it actually is that way.
Well, I won't speak about that transaction or that partnership. I'll just talk partnerships in general.
Okay.
I had Mr. Goodrich said, I've never seen a happy partner. Right? And I was like, okay. And I guess sometimes it goes deeper in you. Like there's times when you actually understand that to a certain level, right? There's a lot of successful partnerships out there, right? A lot of people who work really good together, but just in general, how do you line up your vision with somebody else, especially when you lose control, right? So I think that you have to really dig deep inside and said, if I actually don't have control of this anymore and it takes a different direction from what I'm wanting to, is that okay with me?
Right.
Or is that really going to affect me with some money in the bank, right? And I think that a lot of us don't consider that fact and say, because we don't need that kind of money, right, to be happy. We're already happy. We're producing. We have cash flow. Life is good. And I think we have to evaluate ourselves at that moment and say, first of all, is this going to make me happy if I can't continue my vision, my dream, my mission, if you will, right? What I'm trying to create and my purpose of being here.
Right.
And I think that's where it hits people is saying, okay, cool. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Hold on. Your dream is not other people's dream, especially certain organizations, right? So you've got to be careful with that and really evaluate yourself. Are you okay with heading in somebody else's direction?
Yeah.
For your business?
So let me propose another idea to you. I want to see what you think about this. Do you think that you could have found a relationship that would have been more in Elmer's line if, say, an organization came to you and it was more like a growth fund where they said, hey, I want to purchase 40% of your business. We really, really deeply believe in you. Maybe they even say, I want, more than that, but you're like, no, I'm going to keep it limited. I'm going to give you 40%. I'm going to take some chips off the table that I can put away, and I'm going to have controlling power. They talk about seats on the board, and you go, no, never going to be in a scenario where I don't have the votes that outweigh y'all. That's never going to happen. You have a good trust relationship with them. You put the money aside, so when they want to do growth things, they're not diluting you. You can maintain it, right? So you maintain the 60%. So you maintain full, complete control. And now what you just have is you have a 40% partner in growth. Whatever the expenses are for growth, they're in 40% with you. Do you think that if that were the case, you could be a little bit more happier having built out Elmer's in that fashion? Like, yeah, as long as I have full control, could you take on a partner and just take some chips off the table?
Yes, as long as they bring something else to the table, right?
Got to be more than just money.
Yeah, more than just money. Money itself isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
So even putting a little bit away, you could set that aside of your cash flow if you're doing well.
That's right.
But there's got to be more than just that. What I felt we needed was a little more control of finances, a little more strategy on that part of it. And if I would never sell control. Right? Again, because of the fact that if the company was growing and doing what it was doing, it's because of what we were doing right. And if people were interested in it, right? We had several offers, several people interested. It's because of what we're doing right. They're not going to take the absolute loser and say, oh, man, we're going to bet on this horse, right? That's a mule. That's a jackass. That's not a thoroughbred. So I think that if you do, I think that would actually be, I'd be all open to something like that because you continue your mission, what you're doing right. That's the reason you're growing. And if somebody who doesn't necessarily have your vision, they want to put some money and they believe in you, 100%, I would do that.
Okay, good. I like that. So that, and those weren't questions that I proposed to you originally, but as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm just imagining all the different ways in which people could potentially partner. And I like what you're saying, that it shouldn't just be about money. And here's one of the things that I hope that actually I do think this is in line with the show. When you talk about the mindset of of millionaires, of which there are many, many type of millionaires. But if you talk about a net worth millionaire that on paper is truly a millionaire existing today and not just in the physical assets of their business, right? Because you could argue that my business has a liquidation value of say 12 million, but if I looked at my true net worth, I'm still not even, a net worth millionaire, right? And I think that alters the brain of people. Because like what you said is if you're cash flowing good, it doesn't take that long for a business even doing 5 million at 15% profits after taxes. It really doesn't take that long till, yeah, you can get all your debts paid. You can have your house on. You can have safe accounts that you're stocking up. And if you do that for 10 years and one day you look up and be like, my business is still growing. Maybe it's not 5 million, it's 7 million now, but maybe I'm now 100% debt free and pre-tax, I'm dropping $1 million to the bottom line. That probably changes your perspective on if you really want to sell or not. You got a lot of options then.
I think we have to be responsible with our business and our families by setting a little bit aside. For a lot of years, I was guilty of investing 100% back into it and never really putting some aside, up until I learned a little bit more. But I think it's important for any entrepreneur, any business person that says, yeah, I want to grow very aggressively, but also be setting a little aside at that time as well.
Yeah.
And as you do more, because there's a certain amount of money that's not going to make you or break you if you reinvest it or if you hold it.
Right.
And you're going to be healthy in both ways, your company and your personal finances. So I think it's responsible to do that, right? Put some aside. Don't reinvest 100%. Yeah, most of it to keep growing, but also take care of yourself just a little bit.
Yeah. Would you sell again?
No.
All right.
Everybody's in different positions in their life, in different places, of course, in their life. And I believe that just my opinion, I would never tell anybody to do because we're all different. Until I'm ready to just completely get out and say that I'm going to lose my vision, my mission, and my purpose. And all my purposes now is just to take care of myself, my family for the rest of my life. That's the only time I would consider saying, okay, this is the time. But as far as partnering up and losing control of your business and your what you started, I would really think about that one and consult with people who have actually gone through it and kind of go over the feelings of what happened, how did it go, and really pretty much how you felt about the whole thing with facts. Somebody who actually did it.
Good. The next segment that I want to get into here is your new adventure, which is Zuby and Wonderful Home Maintenance and Upgrades, because you're doing some pretty cool things here. And before I get into that, we're actually going to take a minor timeout. I want to bring an extra chair and extra microphone in here, and I want to get both of our friend, your friend and my friend, Jeffrey Eisenberg, one of the smartest men that we know.
Very intense.
We're going to invite him into the room, so we'll be right back.
Awesome.
So we are totally reset and back in the studio. Elmer, we brought our friend Jeffrey Eisenberg in. Thank you for being here, Jeffrey. And
welcome.
we're going to transition now, and we're going to talk about Zuby Neighborhood Superheroes. And our tagline here is Home Maintenance and Wonderful Upgrades. So let's move into that. And I'm going to kick this off with a quote. And then, Jeffrey, I want to bring you in and have you introduce yourself. So you said, Elmer, I want to build a company where people like my mom can earn a great living, and that is what Zuby is all about. So, Jeffrey, you have this amazing background of working with Google, Dell, lots of very large internet-based companies, telling them how to basically fix their stupid problems. I'm putting that succinctly, but you're really good at that. And yet, there is something about Zuby and Elmer that made you go, you know what, I'm going to put my hands into the home services space. So give someone like your abbreviated elevator speech about you, and then let's dive into Zuby.
I hate talking about me.
Of
But
course
in
you
my
do.
past life,
Just keep riffing.
in my past life, because I'm not doing consulting anymore, I worked with my brother, Brian Eisenberg, who is the much better known of us. He was always the public face. We were internet gurus. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that. We were. I mean, we worked with some really, you name some of our customers. There was, GE and NBC and Overstock. I could go on. There's lots of really big companies. Okay. And our specialty was on helping them close sales. Okay. Online. And that's what we did. If people had traffic and they were wondering why it wasn't converting, they talked to us and we'd help them do that. But you said I knew Zuby. No, I knew Elmer. Elmer is a friend. I got to know Elmer in a closer way. I've known Elmer for about 20 years, but I didn't really know Elmer till about 5 or 6 years ago. We got to know each other. But I said, I have one big thing left in me. And he had launched a company named after his mom, okay, to clean homes. And
I didn't know that.
I knew what it was, Ophelia's Angels. Okay.
I really like that name.
The thing that we both cared about was the people, right? What we cared about here was, can we give a really good opportunity to people to make a decent living, to not have people who abuse them, who, if you care about people, to provide them a real livelihood, because the ultimate form of giving is not giving money away. It's actually allowing people to earn a living with dignity, the way that Elmer's parents did, the way that my parents did, right? They went to work and they earned their money, and everything they had, they built.
So the purpose and the why is to give people that are doing blue collar work that you said, can we say the word crap? I'm going to say the word crap, that are often being crapped upon. No one is speaking kindly to them. No one's really respecting them. Hey, if you don't like it, get the hell out of here type mentality. There's plenty of other people that can do this. You go, no. Those people actually do deserve dignity. They do deserve respect. We want to build an organization to where they can come in, whether it's cleaning homes, cleaning windows, painting, more than just home maintenance. Like right down, I think you guys had even shared with me, cutting grass, trimming trees, and it will expand as time permits and the company grows. But the main problem that you're trying to solve is a group of workers who essentially are lacking for a great living, respect, dignity, sense of purpose.
Yeah. So, I had, like Jeff said, we started, my mom cleaned homes, right? And we go to that, but I felt like that job is so needed yet so unappreciated, right? The people don't get treated right and really don't have any future there. And I remember Mom, we used to go with her to clean houses sometimes, and it seems like all them ladies and some men, but mostly a lady business, right? There's no career path or anything like that. So I started that one, Ophelia's Angels, obviously because my mom, but I never said it's going to make money. It was me putting money into it, investing into it, just to give these ladies a little better future, and with the plan and the dream of making a little bit of money, but giving it all to the daughters, the sons, for them to be able to make a living, pay them better, right? Have benefits as well, and be able to give the profits to them. Never about me, right? Rick Hutcherson, you remember Rick Hutcherson, right? We passed away a couple years ago. Great friend of mine, and he helped me a lot along the way. He said, maybe got it from somewhere else, but I heard it from him, said, if you chase money, money will run from you. But if you chase a purpose, money will chase you, right? That stuck with me always. Say, what is your purpose, right? And at Elmer's, one thing that we built was a culture of people caring for each other, right? Yeah, we have to keep people accountable. It can't be an easy environment, but at the same time, take care of each other. Don't talk bad about each other. Try to help each other out. Do the right thing always. Don't go in there and have an environment of just money. Do whatever you need to make the money. Turn a blind eye to money. And at the same time, it seems like our industries, the blue collar, is missing a lot of that, because all the owners, everybody's looking for what? The money. And again, chasing money. Right? And that's something we did not want to be. And that's where we linked up, saying, hey, I believe in that, right? That's a common purpose that Jeffrey and Roy, right, said, hey, we're all over this, of changing the direction of the blue collar or of the home services, and saying the people who work really, really hard don't get respected as much, right? It's like you go do this and whatever. You have a white collar, not everybody, of course, but you have somebody saying, no, you go do this. And I've experienced it. Hey, yeah, you go fix the air conditioner. Go do the plumbing. Go do whatever. I'll be over here in my office, and no, you can't charge that much, stuff like that. So we get treated differently. We want to get the respect, and without the blue collar, nobody lives comfortably, I believe, right? So we set out to do a mission to treat people well, pay them as much as possible. And this wasn't about me anymore, right? About, hey, Elmer needs to make all his money because they started this company and everything else. It's more about going out there and making a difference for the people, for everybody.
So problem one, and I think if we look at it like the triangles, win, 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 right? The team member's got to win, the client's got to win, the company's got to win. Huge win for the team member. That's really clear. So let's move over to the client, the person that owns the home. And obviously you guys are going to do a great service. I've heard some of the radio ads that you're recording. You're going above and beyond at the idea of quality. Quality is going to be the key here. So I'm going to ask this question at a real brass tacks area, like what problems are you solving for the homeowner? And the first level I want you to answer is essentially like, what are the levels of service? Home cleaning's one.
No, actually, home cleaning is not.
It's not. Well, tell us what the levels of service are.
Okay, there are 4 lines of business that we're in currently. Okay. We are in home maintenance, handyman services, painting, and that involves also interior, exterior painting of things, and trim carpentry, which is related in some ways, right? Like you might do accent walls or you might do different things. So we do carpentry as well. And that's what we're doing currently.
So could you like hang cabinets? Is that considered trim carpentry?
Now, we do still have the ladies that were cleaning the homes.
But Ophelia's Angels is still
But what
running over
happened,
here.
we got a little bit like, okay, you can't do all things, have different brands, right? So we just consolidated everything into Zubi. So we still do that, but right now it's like, okay, we're keeping them. They're doing some homes. They're still doing it because part of the long term, right, is to do everything. So we still have that staff. But yeah, it's carpentry, painting, home maintenance, and handyman services.
What do you find is your typical persona? And for the people that don't know the term persona, we're going to go avatar. Who is your ideal client for these services?
The ideal client?
Mm-hmm.
The ideal client is simply somebody who cares more about their time than their money. Okay, because a lot of these things, unlike let's say in the air conditioning or the plumbing business where you're calling with an emergency, most of these services are not ones where you have an emergency, right? You're making some sort of improvement or you're doing some sort of maintenance, right? So first, it's people who want their time back, right? Everybody has like a honey-do list, and it's always neglected. And so, we took that, we said, we're developing a concept called the Zubi-do list. It's soon to come. But basically moving things from a honey-do list to a Zubi-do list means that we can come out and we can get that stuff done for you. So that's the first one. Okay. And the second one is somebody who actually wants real quality. Because one of the things that we talked about was, how do you scale services like this? And this is an unusual thing. And, I'm not giving away a trade secret. You can, if you looked at our website, you looked at our stuff, you kind of know. What we're saying is that we only train for one level of quality, excellent, not custom, not the top, premium service. We only have one standard. We train to that standard. And so the promise that we make to the customer is identical to what we teach our technicians. Right. And so these are people who are looking for consistency and quality. I mean, we do, like in painting, we do a thing where we have a 5-year warranty. Nobody has a 5-year warranty. There's a couple of people in the country that might, but nobody in this area has a 5-year warranty. Why? Because they're just not willing to always do it right.
Yeah.
If you do it right, it can be done.
So people who have value their time a lot, right, to what Jeffrey's saying, but also people who've been burned by somebody or aren't happy or are like, okay, I've already tried going with somebody. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. What's the quality? Will they come back with a warranty? Can I get a hold of them later, right? So the people who really value quality work and their time, that want actually to be serviced and respected in their home, right? Like not about show up when I want to and all that, which is a deficiency in most of the trades, right? We're missing that along most of the trades in most instances.
So I'm going to circle back a little bit to what we were talking about before we reset the room, where you had exited and you had built a business that was 45 in Dallas, 15, 20, pardon me, 45 in San Antonio, 15, 20 in Dallas, right? That's pretty big. What do you see as the revenue potential? Even though I know you're making it very clear, it's not
What's the
about that.
timeline?
Yeah, what's the revenue potential and what's the timeline?
Um, it's hard really to determine what that number is, right? We do have some projections and everything, but I don't think there's a cap. There's not a limit, or it's how well can we coordinate a team? Because at the end of the day, we're serving our team first, right? The people who work with us first, and we're creating more professional environment, which that'll be our limiting factor, right? How many people we can come in, train, motivate, and show them a different way of business, making them step up their game because they want to, and be able to offer a better service. And then from there, the customers will come to us, right?
And
You
we're
really think
developing
that's the limiting factor is
No,
the
we're
team members,
developing-
not the customers?
Correct.
Yeah, it's not the customers.
100%.
I mean, we are developing the scaling processes right now, and they're unheard of. I mean, basically, there are things that other people do. We've seen best practices, but it's like you have to collect a lot of best practices, and then you have to figure out how you can really implement them. But we'll go beyond San Antonio. And I mean, internally, we are, the business is now not even 12 weeks old, to be fair, right?
Right.
So it sounds like hubris to talk about we're going to be $1 billion business. And, when a truck has a problem or something like that, it's kind of, during the day, it's kind of hard to think, oh, yeah, we're going to be $1 billion business, but I have confidence in it. Elmer has confidence in it. I heard his answer to you about, would he take a partner? And it's like, yeah, not for money. This is not hard. This business, we're really confident of it. And we're, like I said, we're less than 12 weeks in, and we see the growth trajectory. We see where it's going. Even the day that we started. So I'm going to tell you a thing that, he won't brag on himself, but I'll brag on him. So, and my good friend Roy, because I'll tell you the story. So we had to start on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Why? Because Elmer had committed to doing the parade, the
San Antonio Flambeau Parade.
Fiesta Flambeau, right? And so he had committed to doing that, and it was May 5th. And really, we probably should have opened July 7th.
And it sounds good. I'm Mexican, right? Cinco de Mayo. I mean, what better day, right?
Right.
It just worked out.
And so anyways, I'm talking to Roy and Elmer about this, Roy Williams. And Roy basically said, nothing motivates Elmer like pressure. That's pressure. I was like, okay, cool. That it's a day. You have to pick a day. So we were open on May 5th, and we took phone calls, and we sent people out, and we did things. And we are not perfectly ready. Okay, our systems weren't all in place. We changed our field management software after 6 weeks. I won't even tell you. Okay, all that, and July 7th came, which was like the internal date. And July 7th felt like, wow, that would have been too much for a kickoff. Like we were ahead of what we expected to be when we were thinking Cinco de Mayo. Oh my God, that's going to, that's going to blow us out of the water. So, but anyway, so here's the thing that nobody will tell you. So I have video of it. Okay. The floats are going down the parade. And people are singing this, the musical tagline that comes in the videos. I can't sing, right? So I won't. I'll be nice to you. And the people in the audience are singing it. At that point, we had been running that ad for about 5 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. And people had figured out that Zuby was Elmer. Okay. And yeah, it helped that we had some billboards up. Okay. But they figured it out, and people knew the song. Okay. So if you want to know what the brilliance of
he's good with
really marketing. I mean, I remember when, and by the way, I'm sure he'd be happy to give credit that the actual music was put together by Mick Turbay. Roy came up with it in his head, and he sort of heard something, but Mick is the one who took it into the studio and kind of worked it out. And so he came back and he gave us this thing, and I heard it, and it was like, okay. Like, if you listen to the actual just little
Is the song
music,
only useful for Cinco de Mayo?
no. It's the musical tagline goes like zooby 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 zoom.
I didn't
I
really
was
say
imagining
so.
Elmer
No
Zubiate,
opinion. No, nothing. No. That's a cockroach, son. No, but Roy said, "Here's what you're gonna play. You're gonna like it," and he said, he delivered. Said, "This is what you're gonna play." I said, yes, sir.
So it's a zooby 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 whatever.
Zooby, 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 zooby.
Oh yeah, I've heard
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
It's an audio tagline. Okay, it's part of the it's part of the audio branding. Okay, and it's extremely memorable.
Genius.
Okay, and people listen to the ads, and it is funny because we're a multi-line business, and depending on what ad we're running, okay, you can hear from the calls coming in that it's not a direct response vehicle, but you could tell what part of their mind we're touching.
Yeah.
Roy's such a natural, right? When it first came up, because growing up in high school, they called us Zubi. Elmer Zubiate, Zubi. My brother, Zubi. My brother has a business called Zubiware. My brother Oscar, Zubiware. But we spelled it Zubie, Zubi. Roy goes, nope, you can call it Zubi. ZOOBY.com.
Yeah.
So he's just such a natural at it, right? Just that's what you're going to call it. Beautiful, done. You don't question that, right?
No, well, he has the ability to step in there and just do that in a hurry. So, all right, client has their issue solved. That's a win. Team member has many issues solved. That's a win. Let's talk a little bit about the company. I'm going to speak for not just HVAC, but I'm going to speak sort of across the board, right? I'm very familiar with the margins that are good guidelines, right? We know what we should pay as a percentage, a technician, a plumber, electrician, and they're different. We understand what materials should go into a job, depending upon if it's an HVAC replacement or a sewer dig. Most of that's going to be mostly labor, electrician, much less material, get a little bit more in labor, right? All of that should, at the end of the day, benefit the company somewhere between 15 to 20%. I'm not going to get completely into the details here because I haven't asked permission to do it, but I do want to know how the company wins in this scenario. What does winning look like? Let's say 2 years down the road from now, the company's established.
We're in several cities. We're still reinvesting. Yeah, we'll be reinvesting. We've got a painted picture that we've written.
Yeah.
In our painted picture, I think when we do it, I talk about November 28 right now. I think that's the date.
So for a while, you guys are just reinvesting bottom lines.
Yeah, it's a mission, right? It's a project that will take a little bit of time because we have that's part of the business plan. So it's like we said, in the billions is what we plan on doing here, and it sounds as ridiculous and like, how are you going to do that? We have a plan how that's going to work. But truly, this company is not for me. It's not for us. It's for everybody involved, not just personal gain in any way.
And the finances work. It's different. It's not. So there's something fundamentally different in the psyche of the other trades versus air conditioning, plumbing, electricity.
You're going to have to unpack that.
Well, it's fundamental. Every sale that's made by an air conditioner company, an electrician, or a plumber, not every, but most big sales are made, and they're coercive. Okay? It's a coercive sale. It's like, you have to do this because if not, your system's not going to work.
So the sales are, while all things are presented as options, what you're saying is it's almost like the medical doctor not giving you an optional procedure, but it's like, hey, your liver's failing.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You have never, ever, ever heard anybody say, oh my God, I have a new air conditioning. Only in the sense that the last one was broken, but nobody upgraded their air conditioner the way they upgrade a car or the way they get a boat, right? Or the way that they paint their house. It just doesn't happen. So first, it's a different mindset, right? The close is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The economics are different. Okay. There's, in some sense, in some senses, you'd think that you have less training issues because your technicians don't have necessarily certifications, but there's a lot of training issues. And that's obviously stuff we're not going to go into detail about. But we know.
I would love to go into the training. That's my forte.
Of course it is. I'm not willing to go. I don't think we'd be willing to go on it on.
But it's also under development, right? Because of the fact that it's these trades, the air conditioning, heating, and plumbing, which we don't do any of, right, for obvious reasons. But those have been more refined. There's been a lot more time and everything put into those. And there's certain industries that are very fragmented, don't have that kind of attention, or the industry is not that. It's just very loose, right? So we're coming up with different training programs, strategies, and everything works. We just have to work on that, work on the people. Again, people first. We develop the people, the rest take care of itself.
And happy people always create happy clients.
Yeah.
And if you set out to deliver what you promise, and like I said, that we market what we train to, and we train to what we market. So there is no expectation gap for our clients. There is no expectation gap for our people. I mean, if there is, that's something that we need to correct, right? But essentially, just doing what we promise is a really big deal.
Gap. What do you mean by that? I think I know, but what do you mean by that?
Oh, you're going to turn me into a marketer again. So expectation gap is a very simple concept, and I use it, and I'm sorry I said it without explaining it. But basically, any time that you're dealing with any kind of commercial venture or just about anything at all, okay, what happens is your customer has an expectation, okay? If they expect 90 out of 100 and you give them 89, they're disappointed. If you give them 90, they'll give you no credit for it. If you give you 91, they won't even notice it. They want 95, 99, 100. Then they'll notice, and that's how you actually get credit for it, right? That's when people say, oh, that was great, okay? So everything is based on what the expectation is actually set at. And if you don't know where the expectation is, you can't actually meet that expectation.
So when you say there's no expectation gap, are you saying the team member has no expectation gap or the client?
No, the client. We explain to the client exactly what they're going to get. And because we do that and because we're training that way, and it's a much harder burden on us, but we're willing to accept that burden because we know that a lot of, I mean, you just have to look at these industries, the handyman, the painting, everything else. It comes from a lack of uniformity, and it comes from, right? I mean, it's mostly, chuck in a truck.
So your biggest training.
You just hire the best that you think are the best, and then you let them go and hope for the best, right? We're not. We're setting standards.
So your biggest training challenges, it sounds like to me, is just to make sure that the people that you put into the home just deliver the expectation, especially if you're taking that much time up front unpacking what that is.
Yes, that's our thing. Our everything is about exceeding an expectation. If you simply meet an expectation, yawn.
And people want to do that. Right? People are good, right? All these workers, everybody that they want to deliver better products and stuff, they just want to be held accountable as well. So they know that they need to do quality work. They just aren't held to that standard. So we are held to that standard, saying, "Hey, you're gonna come. If you want to be the best, you're gonna come play the best." And we're not going to teach you how to be already a good person, right? Either you're a good person or you're not.
I want to, and I'll tell leaders that I'm working with when they're trying to coach up other leaders and they're like, oh, your leadership skills aren't that great. Give them 3 or 4 things they can do to be better leaders. Well, I don't know what those are. Well, then their leadership skills aren't that great because you literally don't know how to lead leaders. You're not teaching them to be good leaders.
So about 2/3 of our training is soft stuff, not hard stuff.
Give them 10 things and let them choose the ones they want to start on, right? A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, right?
Love that.
I need you to do this. No, here's 10 things you can do to improve.
Yeah.
Which do you want to do? And then lead them that way, right? Lead them softly, not with pressure, not out of, I need you to do this, right? What do you want to do to improve yourself? I don't want to do any of them. Okay, well, you're at the wrong place, buddy.
Right.
I'm sorry, but
we're now adding more salespeople, but what's funny is that the success rate as of right now, where not every tool has been finally polished and developed and everything else, right now we're at, like, for an industry, we're already at a really good closing rate on our proposals. Okay. And we only expect to get better. Like, we didn't give them all the tools yet. Like I said, we only started a few weeks ago, right? Everything was ahead of schedule, and you'll see it. Because here's the thing. Here's what customers want, and here's what employees want, and here's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to know that they're doing the right thing, and the right thing is just a confidence thing. They just need to feel good about it. Okay. And so we're not pushing anything. We're telling you exactly what it's going to be. When we tell you that, if you do a paint job, we expect you to do the walkthrough with us and touch things and feel them and look at the quality. And here's how we're going to know that the quality's done. I mean, if you think about it, they can't do that with an air conditioner install because they don't know.
Do you guys feel like this model, it's early, but do you feel like the model that you're at right now will be the same model a year from now?
And exactly? No.
Like 80% the same.
Yeah.
There is no new antiques. They're fundamentals, right? The fundamentals of business, right? And doing the right thing are not going to change. Maybe a little more AI, a little more technology, stuff like that. But as far as people are people, right? They'll have more information online, of course, or more information access to them. But the fundamentals are the same in anything, always, right? So I guess maybe the technology might change, but the fundamentals are the fundamentals. Treating people with respect, doing a quality job, exceeding their expectations, bringing in the right people, establishing the right culture of respect, right? I don't think that changes.
I can't imagine. Okay. Right. We're so caught up in the minutiae at this point about whether you wait 36 hours on this or whether you do this and train. Like, we're caught up in the little stuff right now, but like you said, the big stuff, the fundamentals, why would it change? Are people going to not want really high quality work done consistently?
I think I was
promised to them.
I agree with you. I was thinking more along like the potential, business model as to, and I don't mean the service model. I agree the service and even the business model fundamentals aren't going to change that much. But I tell you what, I'd be interested in doing is coming back a year from now and going, all right, fellas, what did we learn? What would we do the same? What would we do different? And what we do moving forward? Because I'm sure that you guys are going to do so many things well. You've got all the tools lined up. You've got Roy, you've got Jeffrey.
So I'll tell you the one thing. Okay. One thing. It's not a big secret. Okay. But one of the big things is that you can teach technical proficiency, but you cannot make up for gaps in character. Okay. And so
again, fundamentals, right?
Yeah, it is a fundamental, but when you first start, you're impressed by people who know something and they seem to be masters at something. There are people who are really good at something. And just because you're really good at something doesn't mean that you're the person who should lead that practice, or right. That's a character issue. We've got a gentleman who's fantastic, as a master tradesperson. Okay. You know what? He's just not a great leader. He's just a really good technician on his own. People around him work better because they see how he works and they love him. But we're seeing that there's a mix of people, like, so you see it's the mix of who goes where, right? It's just a funny thing. So that kind of thing, it's like, everybody knows how you make a gin and tonic, right? But just how much tonic and how much gin and how much lime, right? You tweak around that till you get it right. Right. So we know that we know the fundamental recipe, and, we're seeing right now, I had a conversation about that gentleman I'm talking about who's actually doing phenomenal. Right. But we wanted more leadership, and his leadership is quiet and natural and works with in the small team he's working with. He's great.
I'll tell you what goes through my brain, and I'm filtering it through the things that I know, right? I know the big trades. I know the little trades from what I've done. I don't know them like a professional. My brother-in-law would be perfect for what you guys are doing, but I know the soft skills. And as I listen to what you guys are saying, I'm sitting here going, yeah, the soft skills are, that's a cakewalk. The real question is, for me, if I were sitting in your shoes going like, what are the resources that we have and what would be the toughest thing? To me, the toughest thing would be going, we got to make sure that we have a high character master carpenter that actually understands installation of level cabinets. And then he's got to scale that across the other people. We got to have a painter
That loves painting.
that loves painting and will get up on the ladder. And for those of you that can't see yours, I'm looking up at the door and at the top of the sill. And every old carpenter will tell you, if you want to know the quality of the painter, get up on a ladder and see if they painted the top of that door. There are little things like that that people go, oh, they're never going to look. But, you know, having a guy that's doing drywall that understands that a year from now, if his tape starts to peel away because he didn't seal it properly, that, yeah, he's out of warranty and the job is gone. But now that client just thinks you're just a terrible drywall painter.
So, for example, right, of taking a tradesman, for example, and let him do what they love doing and letting them improve that. There was a gentleman doing a paint job at one of the houses we did, and we had somebody go do quality control, check this, check that, this, that, the other. Well, the house wasn't a $5 million house, and he did a paint job, really good paint job. Well, we went in there and critiqued it, right, and said this, 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 and this. And he came and asked me, he goes, are we doing like, for example, the luxury on every home? I said, luxury, as if you're at a $5 million house, do it on a $50,000 house.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And they want to do that, but we rush them or, stuff like that. And he usually, hurry up, get out, go, 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 go. They start not paying the top of the door and doing things like that because you're rushing them to get out. Where really in their heart, they want to do the right thing and do it right because that's what they were taught.
Right.
And it's a little bit starts a process, right? Cut a corner here. Cut a corner there to save time, to save money. And now you created this person, right, that you don't want. Now you got to say, hey, it's not working out. You're not doing it right. Because you keep cutting corners.
But people have years of experience run into that, right? The years of experience tells them that quality depends on who's going to notice. And we don't have we only have one standard, seriously.
Let me tell you about my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is 4 years older than me. This is a man that will never sacrifice quality, no matter how much money it cost him.
Right.
It just will not happen. And I didn't realize how lucky I was to learn underneath him, but there is zero sacrifice to quality ever, ever, ever. His house is like that. Every job he touches is like that. Just absolutely will not occur. Now, if you had a guy like my brother-in-law, the next challenge to Mackie is that Mackie is unconsciously competent at such an amazing level that he demonstrates by showing, and he would not have the skills to take his unconscious competence and translate that into a training manual.
That's why we have not opened in 10 cities at once.
Yeah,
we will be doing, that's exactly what we're in the process of
don't
doing.
Change any of your quality. Now we start researching, finding a way in our training how to do it a little bit faster because this gentleman here, right, that does that kind of quality takes a little bit longer. But you don't tell him to cut corners. You just help him speed up, have his materials ready, so they're not outrun or so you improve him a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Increase his time.
With Mackie, all that's down. He owns his own business, super efficient.
Right.
He makes money on razor thin margins because. And listen, he's in Mississippi, he's running his own business. He's building homes for a living, multiple homes, doing cabinetry work. You're never going to get Mackie to come into San Antonio and do this thing. He's got his own thing going. I'm just, as friends, I'm going, if you can find that person, you hook them up.
You don't have to come, we're going to them.
Yeah.
Well, when you get there.
But part of what we're doing is, I want to hear what you said, right? We are building a replicable business, right? We're building a scalable
this is the second
business.
You find that expert, but then you've got to plug them with someone who knows how to document what they can do.
Exactly. So there's multiple steps to this. Okay. It would be perfectly natural to open up with 2 or 3 trucks and get going. Elmer was blessed with a big windfall from the sale of Elmer's, right? And decided to do this differently. And so we went ahead and funded a bigger expansion so that we could do it, so we could learn those lessons faster. Some lessons aren't always fun to learn.
That's right.
Okay. But we are documenting all those things. And that's, it's funny. We got our first negative review, first negative Google review yesterday. Okay. I'm not even sure. Did you see it?
Shouldn't have told him on the show.
Yeah.
The rest of the show's going to be ruined.
We'll fix it. No, it's fine. The interesting thing is the gentleman who left the review has a series of 1-star reviews for every service company in San Antonio.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. Okay. And we've publicly made our comment, and we said we'll do anything to make it better. We apologize for whatever role we played in miscommunication. We don't know that we did or didn't, but if there was miscommunication, we were responsible for it. The two people are responsible for miscommunication. And so, the bigger question is, are these things avoidable? Sometimes not. Sometimes, it's like there's a whole bunch of things that the culture has to learn. But the bigger learning thing was, how do you respond properly on social media to something like that?
Yeah.
Right. And so if you think about every action has a reaction, and we all, there's so many little pieces. It's all those pieces. It's not the one thing, right? It's not did we pick up the phone right? It's not did we get there right? It's not right. It's a million moving parts.
Well, we started getting into technical things because it's of interest to me, and I'm sure that it's of interest to many folks. I'm going to wrap this by thanking you both, but then I'm going to wrap it with one big question, which is, in the future, I'm not going to ask you if private equity comes calling again with a big enough check. I'm going to ask you a different question. I'm going to ask you, in the future, when it's time for you to be done here, how do you transition away? Do you ESOP it? Do you give it? What do you do?
Is this a decision that we have to make? I know.
Well, here's why I'm going to answer this,
Todd.
Everybody eventually moves on from this
Yeah,
world
but
plane, which means you're going to have an exit, even if it's that.
This company's not for me.
Yeah. So it's not.
Again?
This company's not for me. It's not for us. It's not a company that's for me. So we expect it to keep going.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out.
It's not for sale to wash the dream away.
Yeah. It can be any combination of those things, ESOP. You know what? There's many structures, right? The structures that won't apply are the structures that financialize. I think that's a word. Okay.
We're going to go with it.
Because there's a financialization of the economy where what everything gets reduced to is a dollars and cents of finance, like an equation. We are not going to do anything that allows the shareholders or forces the shareholders to look at customers as dollars and cents. That's the customers are more than dollars and cents. Workers are more than dollars and cents. We care about the people. And so anything that would make us not do that is kind of off the table.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not a nonprofit. It's a for-profit company that does have goals of becoming a big enterprise, of course, right? Nationwide and beyond. But like I said, it's not just for me. So to answer your question, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. So it will continue to go. And like you said, a combination of things. It's everybody's company.
So we'll do this again in a year?
Yes, and hopefully in 10.
Yes. Yes. Yes, amen. All right, that was part number 2. Today I had a chance to not only visit with Elmer, but also my friend Jeffrey Eisenberg. I believe that you guys are going to find that they were very generous. What happens when people come into the studio is a little bit different when I do this over the online forums, which is we get connected, we get talking deeply. I'm here person to person with them, and I feel like I have permission to ask bigger and tougher questions, as I did today. And both Jeffrey and Elmer were very gracious in giving their answers. I believe that this is the way that we get our deepest connection with people is when we just go forward in radical candor. And I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you did, I recommend that you leave a review. That really helps us. And if you want to reach out to Jeffrey and if you want to reach out to Elmer, I'll make sure to leave their contact in the show notes. This is the $100 Million Mindset.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the show this week. Head over to toddliles.com/mindset to get the show notes. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a new episode of the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, then share it. It really helps us get the word out. You've been watching the $100 Million Mindset with Alan O'Neill and Tulsa Todd Liles.